Welcome back. I'm in the kitchen of Fire Station 201 where I'm joined by friend and fellow fire captain Fred King. Fred, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Forrest.
Hey Fred, you're an accomplished chef and you know how to avoid the ultimate recipe in disaster in the kitchen known as a cooking fire.
Yeah.
Hey, what tips can you share with us?
Well, I think it's important that people realize that it is dangerous. And I think some of the things that you would do around the stove that would keep you from having a problem. One, make sure that you have stuff that could be flammable away from the fire or away from the stove. Towels, paper towels, oven mitts. Also, when you're cooking with like grease, you know, frying foods or something, have a lid available and a long pot holder. So if it does catch fire, you can put that pot holder on your hand real quick and slide that lid right over the fire, and then you can turn off the stove and leave it there. Don't take the lid back off. And don't try to move that to the sink or outside. Another thing is to maybe keep children away from the stoves because it is hot. There's scalding, boiling water. There's stuff that can hurt a kid. So you want to do that as well.
Fred, what other precautions should I take when cooking?
Well, I think it's important that you use proper equipment that's approved for that type of cooking. And then another real important issue is to always have a fire extinguisher available in the kitchen, not in the garage or in the closet. It should be close by. In case something does happen, you can get to it right away. The right type of extinguisher should be one, it's like a dry chemical extinguisher that will take care of ordinary fire combustibles, but also like flammable liquid fires for a grease fire or something, okay? You never want to put water on a grease fire. You can get a good quality extinguisher at local department stores, home improvement stores, those kind of places. But always have one available and always keep an eye on it. Make sure that it is ready to go and is charged. You know, these things after a while will lose their charge and you'll have to get another extinguisher.
Okay, now you had mentioned some of those things that could hurt our children. Do you have any tips on things that we could do to help prevent or lessen the likelihood of that happening? Yeah,
I think it's important that you get the kids involved in their safety. A real good thing is what we've done here is we've made what's called a kid-free zone, and it's a 3-foot area around the stove. And you know, you can work with your kids and use stickers or tapes or whatever, and they can put that on the floor, and that's kind of the barrier where they should stay away from. You know, another thing is if you have children around and you've got pots on the stove, make sure you're using the back burners more than the front. And when you do, have the handles turned towards the rear, not to the front. Also, if you have hot food, hot pans, don't put them on the edge of the counters. You know, you want to keep them away from the edge of the counters. Kids are curious and they like to do a lot of climbing and investigating, I guess, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So.
Now, one thing we know, and earlier on in the show, I had mentioned that cooking fires were the #1 cause of house fires.
Right.
You want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. And I think it goes back to the dangers, or we just get complacent. We do this all the time, and we don't think about it being a dangerous thing, or we get distracted. You know, a real big cause of fires is people put something on the stove, get distracted, go away, and they aren't alert. They're either on the phone or something. A good thing to have is a timer. And if you use this timer, or you can use the timer on the microwave, but something to keep you reminded, oh, hey, there's something on the stove. And if you have to leave, make sure you turn the stove off.
Now, Fred, if there is a fire in the home, should someone give us a call 911, or do they just sort of handle it themselves? Especially if they think they've got the fire knocked out.
Absolutely. Call 911. We're the professionals. You could try to put the lid on, but make sure 911 is called and make sure you're getting people out of the building. Because if we know what to do, but if it gets up into, you know, the cabinets, the ceiling, you're definitely going to want the fire department already en route.
That's right. Better to call early.
Exactly.
Than wait until everything is out of control there. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we've talked about inside cooking. Let's go outside and talk about that. When it comes to grilling and barbecuing and such, what kind of tips would you offer there?
Well, I think it's pretty pretty much the same. You know, you want to have a kid-free zone. You don't want to have kids around the charcoaler or the propane grill. You want to not have your propane grill up close to the house or under a covered patio. You want to make sure that you don't use gasoline to light a charcoal grill. You want to use the proper lighter fluid. Don't have it around places where the kids are playing. You know, you want it away from the home and away from the play areas and things.
Fred, what about our viewers who live in apartment complexes? You may have somebody who lives on a second floor who wants to have a barbecue. What are your tips on that?
Well, that's not a good idea, and it's against fire code. You can't have a barbecue grill on the balcony of a second floor of an apartment complex because it's too close to the structure. You've got an overhang, you're right there. So, you know, most apartment complexes will have a grill out on their property where the residents can use that and not have to have one on their balcony.
You know, one thing I saw interesting just this last year, especially when the weather was really good, you would sometimes have people have their doors open. They'd have the grill going and allow all that smoke to come to the home, or sometimes they only have smoke come in, but we knew that we were having people exposed to carbon monoxide.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to use a propane grill or an outdoor grill inside, and you don't want the door open. If something were to go wrong and that caught fire, well, that door's open is not a barrier anymore, and that fire can come right into your house.
Fred, thanks a lot for your time.
You're welcome, Forrest.